While we're on the NFC West, though, former 49ers head coach Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers, I know that's the hire that you are the most high on. It was interesting going through our NFL betting guide earlier today, and you see Chiefs across the board. Everybody picked Kansas City to win the division once again, like they have year after year after year, and they're over $2 to do so, except for one brave soul. The one and only Jonathan Von Tobel. He picked the Chargers there. Do you think they could be one of the two, at least, teams on paper this year that could make a run from worst to first? I think the Bengals are the most obvious one there. But the Chargers, I know you like their season win total over. They're plus 110 to make the playoffs. But could they potentially upset the Chiefs in the division?
You know, that's a really fair question to ask, because I don't think it's as Matt Humans, when he had him on the pod today to talk about it, and he certainly likes the Chargers. He has them as a wild card, but he raised the same question about could they? And I think it's a fair question because, look, the Chiefs are great, and their quarterback's fabulous, but they have to play a certain way. I think there's still liability in their offensive line. At left tackle, they don't know who that's going to be. Right? The receiving core is not elite. We don't know what's going to happen with Rashid Rice. Does he get suspended? How does that happen? What goes on? Kelsey's another year older. There's a lot of things, a lot of moving parts. Remember last year, they struggled to protect Mahomes. A lot of the turnovers came because he was holding the ball, trying to throw it up the field, make plays. When they went back to a run game, when all of a sudden Pacheco got the ball 21 times a game as opposed to 14, their offense got better. Will they be willing to do that? You know, I think we saw it from the beginning of the season last year when they played Detroit, who wasn't a great defense, and Detroit held them. So I think there's there's certainly a area where they can be beaten. And the fact is look, injuries play a huge factor in this, and it's hard to play long seasons 2 years in a row and come back and play effectively for the third. I think that's the other issue. We don't talk enough about the long season for 49er team, for the Chief team. It really wears and tears on your players, and it creates injuries.
No question about it. The Chiefs minus 230 to repeat in the AFC West. Chargers are the second shortest shot at plus 320. And if you look at this Chargers team that went 5-12 a year ago and you say, hey, maybe that's just too big of a turnaround to expect 9 wins, double-digit wins from this team. Historically, Jim Harbaugh has done it, and you look at what he did specifically with the San Francisco 49ers. San Francisco's best season in the 8 years before Harbaugh took over was 8-8. It was nearly a decade of sub-500 play. The season before with Mike Singletary, they were 6-10. Harbaugh steps in, their win total 7.5. They go 13-3 and lose in the NFC Championship game. 2012, 10 win total. They go 11-5, go to the Super Bowl. 2013, 11.5 win total. They go 12-4, lose a close game to Seattle in the NFC title game. It's just they continue to exceed expectations, and he's done it in every place that he has coached.
Why does he do it? Why does he do it, Stormy? I think that's the real question, right? You're so right with your numbers, right? But I think you as a 49er fan can appreciate Jim is a very good game day manager. He does not lose the game. He coaches the quarterback, protects the football, right? He protects the ball. When you look at the bad teams, what do? They turn it over, they make mistakes, they mismanage the game. You know, football's a game you have to avoid losing before you can win. And what Harbaugh brings is that. And just by managing the game more effectively, look what Brian Daboll did his first year at the Giants. He managed the game correctly, and they won 9 games. So I think that's a big, big part of what makes Harbaugh so successful.
You know, the one retread coach we haven't talked a lot about is Dan Quinn in the Washington Commanders. You wrote in the article, his tenure won't be defined by his accomplishments in 2024, but rather how he builds this team through rookie quarterback Jaden Daniels. If Daniels is good, Quinn might get a second contract. If he's just average, then he won't.
Yeah, I mean, I think to me, they got a couple issues here. How quickly can Daniels play well? That's going to be an issue. We don't know. Right? I know Marcus Mariota's the backup, but can he stay healthy if he does have to go play? And 2 is defensively, how good can they become? You know, there are a lot of moving parts here. They've added a lot of players in this offseason. They've been one of the most active teams here. And they've got a lot of people involved in the decision-making. I mean, they've got a huge analytic department. I mean, they got a huge coaching staff, a huge personnel GM staff. So I just think, to me, This could take a little bit of time, but there's going to be an uplift because they're away from, you know, the bad owner. They're away from the toxic environment that was hanging over this franchise for the last 20-some years.
And obviously, he's taken over a team that Ron Rivera did not have success with. 26-40-1 in Washington under Rivera this past season. Just 4 wins, allowing over 30 points per game.